Well, hello everyone. So I'm Sierra Sambrowski. In case you haven't seen my other workshop talk that I had given around grief and understanding grief, where that comes from, welcome. Thanks for tuning in to this one, the one where we explain how spirit really wants to be your best business partner. Not just is and can be, but wants to be. So I'm Sierra Sambrowski. As I said, I'm not a big fan of titles, but what I will say is that if you have to give me one, I typically go by intuitive holistic strategist, which means that I've taken 20 years of business consulting, typically in operations and marketing business development strategy, um, and incorporated that along with my intuitive gifts, as well as I had furthered my education in holistic health and counseling. And so I now work with the business owner as a whole package. They often come to me for their individual business issues. Often it needs rebooted, reinvented, reconfigured, rejuvenated, something along the re line. And what I'm able to do then is use my strategy as well as my intuitive gifts, really blend that practical and mystical side together so that we can pinpoint exactly what is happening in you, in your business, and most importantly, how do we fix those things? How do we create the strategy and the action steps to move forward? So that's just a little bit about me. But let's get into this today. And as I mentioned, I am intuitive. So, and I also believe in the holistic approach that we're a full extension. Our businesses are a full extension of exactly what it is and how it is that our business is showing up and performing. And I start with that because I want you to understand that whatever our connection is to God, source, universe, spirit, is going to be reflected back to us in the level of consciousness and prosperity that we see in our business. Just the same way that we see that in our relationships or money or health. And it's interesting that so many of us, particularly the people in this accelerator, are tuned into creating this deeper relationship with their spiritual intuition, with God, spirit, universe, what have you. And we often are looking for that to show up in ways that make us feel more peaceful and more centered and build our trust and our faith. And like I said, help our relationships, help our health, help our money situation. And yet we overlook the idea that spirit can and wants to be our best business partner. It's not about trying to manifest or just energetically align to a higher version or the ideal version of what it is that we want our business to look like. It's about actually turning to spirit and having them guide you, right? And so some of you may be listening to this, maybe tuned into this and thinking, well, I I don't really know how to communicate. And what I can tell you is that you are already communicating. What it's really about is understanding that the messages are there, the breadcrumbs are there. We just need to learn to recognize them. And then when we learn to recognize them, we have to learn how to really be able to go into a place of trust with them. So, what might that look like? Well, I'm going to, in a few minutes, talk to you about some meditation practices that we can use and the questions we can be asking. But I kind of actually, in case you're not a meditator, I want to start with how those answers come through because the answers will come through to you even if you're not a meditator. The answers will come through to you. You don't have to do any kind of special prayer. It's really just about asking with a really intentional and expectant heart. And it can be nothing more than when you're out walking the dog in the morning and go, please God, show me where that disconnect is for me and my target market. Please God, help me find the next thing that's really going to elevate my social media uh, audience. Help me know what new product or service I should offer. Help me understand where my pricing should be. Help me be led to my next client. Any of those things, all of those things can be asked while you're making dinner or washing the dishes or in the shower. It doesn't have to be some great big extensive practice. Okay? So I want you to know that the simple act of asking is really where we just need to start. Now, going back to what those answers look like, I just want to say that often, most often, those answers come through to us in a repeating um, conversation, theme, topic that we keep hearing over and over. You know, it's a thing where you stop at the Dunkin' Donuts and you hear. I don't know who's going to Dunkin' Donuts, but if you are, I don't know why I said that because I don't even go there. But it's about understanding that, like, you hear that conversation go there with them, and then you are turn on your TV and somebody's talking about the exact same topic or the same place or the same thing on TV, even though you're about to change the channel, you catch that it's the same, right? And then maybe you're on social media later on and you see three other people that you follow and admire are also talking about the same thing. That's your answer, friends. That's your breadcrumb. Now, for me, also, I happen to know that human design, and I use that with my clients. And so that is also the signs and the ways that if you know that you're a generator, if you've heard that you're a generator, which nearly 70% of the population are generators, there's a high likelihood that you are. And we're told that we need to be in response. This is the kind of response that I'm talking about. This is the kind of response that they mean. When you pick up on that theme, when you pick up on this repeating conversation, this topic that seems to keep presenting itself to you over and over in a day. I'm not talking about that you've heard about it, over a month, though it could be, but it's only really if that strikes you. If after multiple times across a month, you're like, that's like the fourth time I've heard about that this month. Well, then that weird thought, that weird connection that you kind of want to explain away is your answer. And that's the thing that you should be responding to. It's also the second thing that I tell people is an answer. It's always like, you'll think to yourself, that's so weird. Why would I have thought about that? It comes very randomly. It's maybe something that you want to dismiss. It's something that you're like, Ooh, my imagination is really overactive today. It's probably not your imagination at all. It's probably your intuition. It's spirit trying to guide you. One of the other things that comes through often and is an answer, and it's not my favorite. It's probably not anybody's favorite, but it's when we have set out and we're really kind of thinking, planning, you have an intention, something's you start out down this path with an expectation of what the result is going to be, and it totally goes frickin' sideways. It just it falls apart. There's some kind of disaster around it. It totally doesn't work out the way you want. You ended up having to do this. You thought it was going to be on a schedule. You thought that it was meant to be done today, and then it didn't happen today. And you feel like you're being called out, and people are going to think you're unreliable or whatever. There's some kind of massive disruption in what you were expecting and intending for it for how it to go and what the result would be. A lot of times that is spirit trying to redirect you. That either the timing of it wasn't right, that you were forcing your hand to something, or you're just going in the wrong direction. So take those as an answer. Look at it. Ask yourself, was I trying to put my own will forward? Was this not something that I necessarily was really feeling into, but I saw a video, I have a coach, there's a guru, there's somebody that told me that this is the way it should be done. And even though it didn't feel right to me and this was not really what I wanted, I logically pushed myself forward to do it. And then when I did, it was a freaking disaster. Yeah, that's spirit telling you it is not aligned to you. Okay? So tune in, check into yourself. When any of these things come up, how does it feel? Does it feel silly? Does it feel expansive, fun? Like, boy, wouldn't that be awesome if that actually worked? Or is it feeling constrictive? It's feeling like, oh man, I gotta make myself do this, right? Like even for me, with this recording, to be able to offer to all of you, it's really important that I was in the space and the energy. I was feeling inspired by it and not sitting down to do it as something I needed to check off my to-do list. This is how spirit works with us in our business. This is one of the things that I think, even though a lot of my clients tend to have very traditional businesses, the owners themselves usually have some kind of connection to spirit. And is one of the biggest principles that I try and really empower in them and lay into them and support them in and build their confidence in is that if it doesn't freaking feel right, if it feels like a chore, then it's not aligned to you. Don't get me wrong, paying taxes, paying our bills, hiring employees can very much feel like a chore. I get that. And so those kinds of things, if we can delegate them out, then we absolutely should. The other solution to that is creating a fun ritual around it. And I won't go into that, but if that's something that you're interested in and you want to, DM me or leave a comment in the video, I'm happy to go ahead and share that with you, and have a conversation with you about some of the ways we can translate and reconfigure some of these more tedious things. The biggest one that I see in here though often is content creation with social media. Now, about 50% of my clients are fortunate enough to be able to hand that off to someone else. But typically they still need to, participate in that. Um, the other 50% are doing their own. And so many of them just absolutely dread it. And they get locked into feeling like every Friday I'm supposed to be creating a video, da 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 da. And I don't feel inspired. Again, there's all kinds of approaches to it, but what I can tell you, what is most important is for you to leave it alone. Don't worry about the consistency factor. I mean, unless you're like not doing anything, that's a whole nother subject. But like to skip 1 week because you weren't feeling inspired, don't sweat it. When you energetically put something out there, and this really is more on the next workshop that I'm offering in June for you, but I'm just going to touch on it. When we're energetically putting something out there that feels forced, that feels constricting, that feels like a drag, that feels exhausting, that just that's the energy you're putting out there. And then that's the energy that is going to boomerang back to you. It's the energy in which you're cultivating. And then we go, I don't get any results. Well, yeah, because you feel like this is torture every time you try and come up with content. And again, like I said, there's other ways, and there's other people, really phenomenal people in this group that are awesome at being able, because I've seen them, even if I've not connected with them personally, that I know are great at working with people on intuitive development, that are great at working with people on social media. So they're there to help you. Take advantage of that. The very idea of how something feels to us, and I've mentioned this already, is a way that spirit communicates with us. It's how we are getting a read. It's a gauge, it's a compass that's happening all the time that lets us know whether something is aligned for you or not aligned for you. For people that can't understand or aren't particularly great at being able to identify it emotionally, I would encourage you to check in with your body then. Be sensing in your body. Do I pull? This is something I do. I pull my shoulders up. I hold my breath. Does it feel tight in my belly? Does it feel tight in my chest? Is there, you know, pain, restriction down my arms? Whatever these things are for you. But if there's something uncomfortable in your physical body, because sometimes spirit pushes us to emotionally and mentally feel uncomfortable, so don't confuse that. But it won't be in your body. And that's one of the key ways that you can get those answers, right? That you can distinguish and start recognizing what that answer is from spirit for the questions that you asked. So let's go back to how you start establishing spirit as your business partner. First, you ask, just like I already said. I would also really encourage a regular practice, whether it's journaling or automatic writing. Some people aren't comfortable with the term automatic writing, so I just call it journaling because it is. It's about letting yourself go into a space where you free flow the answers. Whatever comes up in your mind, just start writing it all down, right? Neil Donald Walsh did this with Conversations with God. If any of you are familiar with that, you can do that too. Another really great practice, though, is actually in meditation. I imagine there's a lot of you here in this container that are great meditators. So, moving into a space where you're creating some kind of ritual around meditating with the specific energy of your business. Everything has an energetic quality. Mass is not really mass. It's not really solid, right? It's all energetic particles. That includes our ideas. That includes our thoughts. That includes our business. So, for many people, you can construct your own sort of business avatar, the spirit of your business, or you can let that be revealed to you. Now, again, there's lots of ways. So I don't want to put anything out there specifically that makes you feel locked in unless it really resonates with you, but I am going to give you an example. So you can take yourself into that meditative space. Take yourself to a place where you feel really comfortable and really confident. For some of you, the one that I like to use most of the time when I'm connecting with my business is I go to a boardroom. And it may look however it's going to look. Again, for me personally, I don't necessarily function well with the script of saying, it's in this big glass building and it's up on the 64th floor and you walk in and the whole room's lined with windows and there's a giant white board table in the middle and it's got beautiful white leather chairs pulled up around it and the views are spectacular. If you want to use that because you love that idea, then steal that for all means. For me personally, I know that sometimes my boardroom does not look like that. Sometimes my boardroom is looking like a windowless little hole in the wall with some used ass furniture. That's also an indication to me. And so you may benefit from allowing your imagination, which again is really spirit, to just kind of take you to that boardroom. Notice first and foremost what that room looks like. How does it feel? What colors are in there, if there's any colors? Does it feel cold? Just as I said a minute ago, for me, when I know that my boardroom is not looking super spectacular, then that's an indication to me that my value, my worth, my excitement, my energy around my business and with my business has become depleted, has become discouraged, is at a lower level. And so that's always an indication to me. So when you first go into that meditative space, create that place where the energy, the spirit of your business can come in and meet you. That's all you really have to set the intention for while you're in there to start. And then I want you to really significantly understand and be able to identify and describe what that room looks like, what the furniture looks like, what to feel like. Maybe it's not a room, maybe it's outside of a pavilion, right? It can be whatever you need it to be. But first, pay attention to the cues, the design, whatever strikes you about the room. And then I want you to visualize yourself going in and sitting at that table or sitting on the ground, sitting on the floor, wherever, sitting on a blanket, on the beach. I don't know. This is the spirit of your business. And then invite your business partner, your highest form business partner, to come in and join you. Again, it can look very different each time or might look the same every time. Take a moment, notice. And then I want you to ask whatever questions you have where you really feel you are needing the support. Maybe what you need to start by asking your business partner is, how can I better support you? How do I trust you? What would you like to see me be doing? And then all those other questions too can be in there at any given time, any given day. The ones that I mentioned early on about target market and client offering and pricing and all that. So go in there, have that conversation. Like I said, whether it's mentally in a meditation or you're automatic writing, either way, when you are done meditating, come out and write that stuff down. It's just like having a dream journal, right? If we don't write it down and get it down on paper, a lot of times it can start to slip away and escape us, but there's real gold nuggets in there. Use as much detail around it as you can possibly pull in and remember. Allow this to be a blueprint and a plan for you to work with your business. Sort of the last thing that I'm going to share. I mean, there's lots of conversation to be had around this. But one of the last things that I also want to share with you as a way that you can be working with spirit as your business partner or the spirit of your business. It might seem like a distinction to some, but it's really not. It's still the same thing. What I really also want you to do is be looking each day, each week, whatever it is, at sort of your to-do list. And the things that you find to be daunting, not including paying bills and taxes. It can be the hiring of your employees, though. Whatever you're finding daunting and exhausting, I want you to put down all the things that you really feel like you need to accomplish that day or that week. And then I want you to make 2 more columns. One for you, one for your business partner or spirit. And I want you to move through that list and I want you to decide the ones that you really cannot possibly imagine how. How is never our job. We are human beings, not human doings. If I leave you with no other message, I want you to think about the fact that there is nothing, no amount of doing that we do without spirit that is ever going to get us results. There is nothing that you do every single morning. I don't care how anybody else has told you, that brings you a client, brings you customers, brings you a new employee. I don't care. I don't care how many agencies you hire, marketing plans, the money you put out there. They never are coming to you without spirit being involved. It's just the hard truth. So this is why we can be in this space of doing and doing and doing and feeling like nothing's working, nothing's working. I put all this effort, it's exhausting to me, nothing's working. Because there's no part of anything that happens in your life, in your business, without spirit being involved. It's the exact same thing as the weather. You can plan an event. You can be hoping, praying, doing a rain dance, setting rituals, doing a crystal grid, whatever the hell you want to keep the rain away because it's an outside event. And I'm sorry, but none of that works anymore because of your doing and preparation and planning than whatever spirit decides. So you might as well tune in the same way that you have an event. And if you want to stubbornly keep doing the rain dance and the rituals and the whatever and not address that little nudge inside of you, the party van goes by 3 days before for an event tent. You turn on the TV or get in your car to drive somewhere, and there's an ad on straight away for event tents. That's spirit directing you. They're there. You can't control the weather, no amount of doing and planning. You can't control your clients, your employees, none of that. So the sooner that we understand and accept that all things come through spirit, this is what Jesus said in the Bible. Not to go all Christian on you, but people like to take these phrases and kind of twist them. What I will say is that I believe very fully that the real intention of that meaning was that we are to be in unity, in collaboration, in contact, in relationship with spirit. And that's how all things come. So take that list. The things that you don't know how are the things that feel so overwhelming or really restrictive or really daunting, really exhausting, really run you down. I want you to give those to the spirit column. Give that to your business partner to do and handle. You do the things that you enjoy doing, that you're comfortable doing, that you know you can get right off your list with ease, that you do already have an idea of a how. And if you don't, then it goes into the business partner spirit column. Hand it over to your business partner. If you had a real partner, a human formed partner, you do have a real partner. If you had a human formed partner, you would never take everything on yourself. Whoa, I shouldn't say that because some people would. Hopefully, nobody listening here, nobody tuned in here. You shouldn't, though. The reason why we take on a business partner is so that the responsibility, the weight can be divided. Hopefully, that business partner is somebody that you collaborate well, that is a great person for being your backboard. It's funny, as I was saying that, I was like, I literally heard from Spirit. They said to me that that's kind of, I'm like a stand-in business partner. Um, anyway, that was kind of funny. I was like, thank you. Um, but Spirit is there for you to directly work with. So I want you to start thinking about the way that you would rely on, go to, have expectations of a human form business partner showing up for you. Okay? I feel like I covered a lot. I feel like there's some real gold nuggets in here for you. Spirit is there for you. You can tune in. You can rely on them. You can ask for them to come through in dreams. I talked about the automatic writing or journaling and doing meditation, but coming through, asking them to be present in your dreams, asking them to be present in your everyday experience, like I said, in those over repeating response things that are coming up, right? You ask the same way you would an actual physical form human business partner. Think about it that way. And also remember, everything comes because of spirit's participation. Just like the weather, So does your client. So does your health. So does the love of your life. There's no amount of manifesting techniques. There's no amount of self help, personal development that ultimately changes any of those things as long as you are keeping spirit's influence, spirit's creative energy, spirit's power outside of whatever that thing is that you're trying to create and bring in for yourself. You're trying to experience and live in. And that includes our businesses. So, with all that, I hope you found some good gold nuggets in here. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please don't be afraid to reach out to me. Or, like I said, I know there's a lot of other people in this amazing container that are really able to help you with different things that play into the topic that I talked about today. You're always welcome to DM me. I definitely encourage you to jump over to my business page here on Facebook and Instagram. It's Sierra, 1R, Intuitively Knows. I try and put out a lot of good content there that'll help you personally as well as in your business as well as spiritually. LinkedIn, my name, Sierra Sambrowski. And then I do have a website, really just kind of talks about my services. I don't use it a lot. But it's Alchemy, ALKEMAI.com. So, like you said, by all means, reach out to me. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear what part of this video today you really needed to hear for yourself. That would be really fun if you can take a few minutes and share it with me privately or in the comments. I'd love that. All right, everybody. Talk to you soon. Don't forget, 2 weeks, just about 2 weeks, I'm going to be doing a live intuitive reading in this group, in this container. So if you join in that day and you bring me a question around your business, I'm going to call in spirit for you. We're going to get you some answers. All right. That's going to be, let me just double check here real quick. The 25th from 10 to 11 Eastern Time. All right, everyone. Looking forward to talking with you. Can't wait to hear what you took away from this.